Have you ever wondered, when looking up at that pitch-black night sky, whether someone out there is looking back at us? The answer may be more frightening than you think. It is not the rumor of dreamers, but Leroy Chiao, a veteran NASA astronaut who once held command of the International Space Station ISS, who broke the silence. After 4 space missions and 6 spacewalks into the endless void, he made a statement that sent chills through the scientific community. Extraterrestrials are right here among us. But Leroy is not the only one. Human history is not a single straight line, but seems to have always been guided by an invisible hand. From ancient records to the top-secret documents recently declassified by governments, all quietly acknowledge one truth. Their presence is not a matter of the future, but a phenomenon spanning thousands of years of history. The most prominent figures on Earth, could it be that they encountered these entities, turning back the possibly? Clock to ancient China. In the Shenyi Ji, a historical record listing strange events during the reign of Qin Huang, there is a passage that is extremely detailed and difficult to explain. The book says that a tribe of strange people once appeared. Their appearance was bizarre, bodies shaped like spirals, towering up to 10 chi, equivalent to today's 2.3 meters. The strangest thing was that their bodies were covered in something like bird feathers, and they possessed an extraordinary ability. Their bodies glowed in the darkness. Even more frightening, when submerged underwater, they did not get wet or suffocate, as if they were protected by an invisible membrane. Qin Shi Huang, the most ruthless and suspicious emperor in history, instead of eliminating them, treated this tribe with immense honor, regarding them as kin. When his officials questioned him, he simply said, "They are gods." Why would an arrogant emperor bow his head to strangers? Many historians believe that bird feathers or glowing bodies might be the ancient way of describing reflective astronaut suits. Could it be that thanks to the technology and intellect of this mysterious tribe, Qin Shi Huang was able to build impossible structures such as the Great Wall or the enormous mercury-filled mausoleum? Not only in the East, but in the West as well, Napoleon Bonaparte, Emperor of France, carried within him a mystery that modern medicine cannot explain. When modern archaeologists excavated and examined his remains, they discovered a strange object embedded deep inside his skull. It was identical to a tiny electronic microchip. Based on the level of bone development around it, Dr. André Dubois concluded that this object had been implanted when Napoleon was very young. We must revisit the records of 1794. When Napoleon was 25 years old, he mysteriously disappeared for several days, and no one knew where he went. Before the disappearance, he was just an ordinary artillery officer. But after he returned, his career rose like a rocket. Just 1 year later, he transformed a starving, exhausted army in Italy into an undefeated war machine. He conquered Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and became the ruler of Europe. Napoleon's thinking ability at this point surpassed ordinary limits. He could read extremely fast, process information instantly, and dictate to several secretaries at once on different topics. Researchers discovered that the microchip emitted small waves that continuously influenced his brain. This explains Napoleon's frequent sudden fits of anger, extreme actions, or depression, signs of a nervous system overstimulated by an external influence. Could it be that the map of 19th century Europe was drawn by a mind controlled by extraterrestrial technology? Evidence of their presence is also scattered underground, challenging every evolutionary rule. At the Mureș River bank in Romania in 1973, construction workers found a metal object at a depth of 10 meters, lying in the same geological layer as the bones of extinct mammoths. The testing results were shocking. This object contained 90% aluminum and 12 other metals, and it was 250,000 years old. Why is this impossible? Because humans only learned to electrolyze aluminum about 200 years ago. 250,000 years ago, we were still primitive cave dwellers. Its shape resembled the landing gear of modern flying devices. Could this be a remnant from a prehistoric UFO crash? Suspicious coincidences also appear in caves. In Chhattisgarh, India, 10,000-year-old cave paintings depict beings with no eyes or noses, holding strange weapons and wearing astronaut-like suits. Their paint is natural, yet strangely has not faded after millennia. Not only in India, but also among the Mayans in Mexico, in caves in France, and among Australian Aboriginals, with their Wangina figures, sky beings with large heads and big eyes, all drew creatures that look remarkably similar. Prehistoric people only drew what they saw. If they had never seen spacecraft or protective suits, how could their imaginations match across continents so precisely? The peak of absurdity lies in Africa. 42 years ago, at the Oklo mine in the Republic of Gabon, French scientists discovered that the uranium ore there had been used for free. Natural uranium always contains 0.7% U-235, but here only 0.3% remained. The missing amount of U-235 was enough to create dozens of atomic bombs. After surveying the site, they were shocked to realize that this ore deposit was actually an underground nuclear reactor built with extremely advanced scientific knowledge, far beyond our current technology. The most terrifying thing is that this reactor had been operating since 1.8 billion years ago and ran continuously for 500,000 years. At 1.8 billion years ago, Earth only had microorganisms. So who needed nuclear power at that time? It certainly was not humans. If only one person said they saw a UFO, we have the right to call it a hallucination or a lie. But when history leaves behind thousands of clues and countless witnesses speak up, then it is no longer a mythical tale. On the early morning of the 1st of June, 1853, an explosive event shattered the calm of the Burritt College campus in Tennessee. As dawn broke, countless students and professors stood frozen in place, eyes fixed on the sky where two strange luminous objects were shining intensely. One object was small, like a crescent moon, the other enormous, like a star, hovering defiantly, continuously changing shape and size for a full 30 minutes. What is notable is that the event was witnessed by intellectuals, people who are always rational. Yet both the principal and the most erudite professors were speechless, unable to offer any scientific explanation. Professor Kennett later recorded a bizarre phenomenon. The appearance of the two UFOs seemed to have drained the moisture from the air, making the space unnaturally dry. But that was not all. 44 years later, on the 17th of April, 1897, residents of the small town of Aurora, in Texas, were awakened by a terrifying explosion. A spacecraft, exactly as described by the Dallas Morning News, had lost control and crashed into a local judge's windmill. Debris was scattered everywhere, and among the wreckage, they found the body of the pilot. But that body was absolutely not human. Although heavily deformed from the impact, the remaining intact parts showed that this was a being from another world. The people of Aurora, in fear and respect, buried the unfortunate creature in the town cemetery, sealing away an eternal secret. The level of drama rose to its peak on the night of the 25th of February 1942, right in the middle of World War II. The entire city of Los Angeles fell into chaos when military radar detected an unidentified flying object entering its airspace. believing it to be a Japanese attack. The U.S. military unleashed an unprecedented barrage of firepower. More than 1,400 heavy artillery shells were fired into the sky, forming a dense net of flames. Yet the terrifying thing was that the object continued to move steadily, completely unscathed by human firepower. It glided at 200 miles per hour, defying every law of physics, and disappeared into the night, leaving the U.S. military in absolute shock. Who had they just fought? History seems to repeat itself in a strange way. In August 2016, inverted pyramid-shaped UFOs were seen hovering above the tops of the Egyptian pyramids, reminiscent of an ancient inscription from the time of Pharaoh Thutmose III in 1480 BC, describing circles of fire falling from the sky. Is this cross-time and cross-space coincidence truly random? Now, the truth no longer lies in the shadows as governments begin opening their vaults of classified documents. The Spanish Ministry of Defense has declassified 1,900 pages of documents confirming numerous encounters from 1,962 to 1,995. The most frightening was the incident in 1966, when prison guards and sailors witnessed a massive object continuously changing shape in the sky, as if it were a living creature rather than a machine. Even the CIA, FBI, and NASA cannot keep secrets forever. A classified 1,968 document revealed an incident in Nepal and India. A red-blue glowing object, moving at breakneck speed, accompanied by thunderous sounds, crashed and created a gigantic crater. There, they found a metallic disc-shaped object with a base 1.8 meters wide and 1.2 meters tall. Undeniable physical evidence. And most recently, humanity's electronic eyes, the cameras aboard NASA's SOHO spacecraft, have continuously captured images of unidentified flying objects roaming around the sun, seemingly harvesting energy from our parent star. NASA remains silent, but that silence only makes the answer clearer than ever. So in the end, what kind of universe are we living in? Are humans truly the sole owners of Earth, or are we merely spectators, being observed by supernatural forces for thousands of years? The evidence lies right before our eyes. From the alien corpse in Texas, the crash disk in the Nepal crater, to the ghostly shadows drifting around the Sunday, the answer may no longer lie in the distant cosmos, but within our own consciousness. Do you believe, or do you choose to deny it? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, because one of you may have already seen them. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, so we can uncover the next top secret files together. Goodbye, and see you again in the mysteries that have yet to be solved.